You're standing on the edge of one of the most defining days of your life, and if you're not ready, it could pass you by. It doesn't matter which roads you've taken, how far you've strayed, how many times you've stumbled, or how many wrong doors you've stepped through. Some moments are woven into your very being. You can't outrun them. You can't avoid them. This Thursday is one of those moments, a fixed point on the map of your existence, the place where every detour, every heartbreak, every twist and turn converges to bring you right here. This is not coincidence. This is spiritual design, and once you arrive, the next chapter begins, with or without your consent. You agreed to this moment before you were even born, before you took your first breath. You marked this date. You may not remember it, but your soul does. Chosen ones set time triggers before incarnating, moments designed to shake them awake and shift them into the next stage of their path. Tomorrow is one of those triggers. It's not random. It's not fate deciding for you. It's the countdown you placed in your own journey. That's why the air has felt heavier lately, why some have been restless, feeling strange waves of pressure, bursts of clarity, or even an unexplainable pull in their chest. Because this is more than a date. It's a checkpoint in the mission you chose, and when it clicks, what comes through will demand you choose a side. You're no longer too much. You're finally exactly enough. For years you felt like your energy was something people couldn't handle, like the truth in your voice, the intensity in your presence was something they had to pull away from. But Thursday flips that script. What used to push people away will now pull the right ones toward you. This is the shift where your light stops feeling like a threat to others and starts feeling like an invitation. It's not that you've changed. It's that your frequency finally matches the recognition you've been waiting for. You're not chasing anymore. You're attracting what was always meant to find you. You may notice conversations flowing with people you'd never expect to connect with, or invitations showing up out of nowhere. It's the beginning of real community, of seeing the reflection of your own authenticity mirrored back to you in others. And it begins on a Thursday that looks ordinary, until it isn't. All those delays, turns out they were shortcuts in disguise. How many times have you looked at your life and thought, I should be further ahead by now? Thursday begins to dissolve that thought, not in a forced everything happens for a reason way, but in a moment of undeniable clarity, where you see that every detour was actually placing you exactly where you needed to be. The relationships that ended, the doors that closed, the opportunities that fell apart, they weren't blocking you. They were steering you to the one path that would actually hold the weight of your mission. You weren't being slowed down. You were being set up. It's the kind of peace that settles into your chest without you having to convince yourself of it. And with that peace comes something bigger. The freedom to move forward without dragging the chains of resentment or self-doubt. The universe never forgot what you did in silence. There's a kind of power in the good you've done that nobody knows about. The moments where you could have humiliated someone but chose to let them keep their dignity. The times you gave without expecting, where you helped someone knowing they could never return the favor. The quiet acts of integrity where the only witness was you. Most people think those moments fade away, lost in the noise of everyday life. They don't. Every one of them was stored, not in some moral scoreboard, but in a field of energy around you like spiritual escrow. And here's the thing about escrow. It's never gone. It just waits for the right conditions to release. This Thursday something opens. It's not going to be fireworks and instant lottery wins. It's going to be subtle, but life-shifting. Suddenly the right person appears at the right time. A door you didn't even know existed swings open. You get a yes where you've only been told no. You didn't lose those moments of kindness. They've been circling back to find you. And what makes it powerful is that you won't need to question where it's coming from. Deep down, you'll know exactly why it's arriving now. It's the return for all the times you chose light when it would have been easier to choose shadow. Thursday sharpens something you've carried your whole life, but never fully trusted. That quiet shift in the air before reality changes. It begins subtly. The atmosphere feels different, not louder, not brighter, just altered in a way you can't name. A heaviness in the room, a pull in your chest, the faint sensation that somewhere unseen, the pieces have already started moving. In the past you might have brushed it off, told yourself it was nothing, but this time, the feeling refuses to dissolve. You carry it with you from one moment to the next, as if the future itself is walking right behind you. It's not a guess, it's not a hope, it's an awareness, one that's rooted deeper than thought. You'll find your senses tuning into details you'd normally miss. The sound of a door closing 3 rooms away makes your body tense for no reason. A sudden shift in the wind feels like a warning or an invitation. Conversations around you seem to bend toward a single unspoken point. Every signal is small on its own, but together they paint a picture that your mind hasn't caught up to yet, and then it happens. The thing you couldn't name, the shift you couldn't explain, steps fully into view. It may be good news, a sudden meeting, a message you weren't expecting, or it may be a moment that challenges you to move quickly, to make a choice on instinct alone. Whatever it is, the strange part is not that it happens, but that you already knew it would. Thursday marks the moment your relationship to this awareness changes. You stop treating it like a coincidence and start moving with it. You'll notice the way the body tightens before certain events, the way calm washes over you when something aligned is on the horizon. This is your field syncing with what hasn't landed yet, intercepting the ripples before the stone even breaks the surface. The more you allow this awareness to guide you, the clearer it becomes, and soon, you'll stop thinking of it as a signal at all. It will simply be part of you, like the beat of your heart, constant, unseen, and always ahead of the moment you're standing in. Thursday is not the first time you felt it, but it is the first time you'll stop ignoring it. And once you move in sync with that quiet knowing, you'll never want to go back to guessing. This Thursday, your real frequency takes over. It's always been there, that deep, steady hum in the background of your existence, not something you hear, but something you feel. It's the original signal you arrived with, untouched by fear, untouched by the noise of the world. You've brushed up against it before, those rare flashes where everything made sense for no reason, where your words felt heavier, and your actions seemed to move reality itself. But for most of your life, that signal has been muted. You've had to adapt to survive. Bend your tone to match people who didn't understand you. Shrink so you could fit in rooms that couldn't hold your full presence. Amplify pieces of yourself that never came naturally just to be accepted. Every one of those adjustments added static, and after a while, static starts to sound normal. You stop noticing what's underneath. This Thursday, the static cuts out. There's no build-up, no announcement, just a sudden, undeniable return to the note you've been carrying since the start. You'll feel it before you can explain it, in the way certain things suddenly seem impossible to fake, in the way some environments feel tighter, like they're shrinking around you. That's the signal coming forward, reclaiming ground it lost. And when it does, it has no interest in compromise. Anything that doesn't resonate with it starts to feel heavier in your body, harder to pretend about, harder to tolerate. It isn't rejection, it's incompatibility. Your system simply stops translating things that don't match. The same situations you once endured now feel suffocating. The same conversations you once participated in now leave you with the sense you're wasting something precious. At first this can feel like loss, like parts of your life are falling away faster than you can replace them, but what's really happening is refinement. That frequency is drawing out anything that's been diluting it, stripping you down to a version of yourself that's precise, concentrated, and unmistakable, and the more you lean into it, the more the world around you begins to shift in response. You may find that certain people, places and opportunities seem to arrive with a strange sense of familiarity, as if you've met them before or dreamt of them years ago. That's because you finally tuned yourself to the channel they've been broadcasting on all along. This isn't chance, it's resonance. The right things aren't chasing you, and you're not chasing them. You're simply occupying the same field now, and the meeting point becomes inevitable. When your dominant frequency is fully in play, life stops feeling like a series of unrelated events and starts feeling like a single unbroken movement. The choices you make, the words you speak, the places you end up, all of it aligns with that note. And from here on, you'll be able to tell the difference instantly between what's truly yours and what's just noise trying to imitate your tone. This is the moment your life stops blending into the background and starts carrying a sound the world can't ignore. The version of you who shows up tomorrow morning is not the one who will go to sleep. There's a part of you that has always arrived first, before your truth, before your presence, before your needs. It's the version you learned to wear, maybe not out of choice, but survival. The one that knows how to keep things calm. The one that knows how to hold the room together. The one that nods when it doesn't agree, laughs when it isn't amused, carries weight that was never theirs to hold. You've outgrown this version, but until now, you've still let it lead, out of habit, out of fear, out of the quiet belief that you still needed it. But something changes on Thursday. And not because you make a decision to change, but because something inside you silently stops participating. You might be in the middle of saying something and hear your voice feel unfamiliar. You might start reacting in a way you always have, only to feel disconnected from it mid-sentence, like it's an echo of a self you no longer belong to. That's not confusion, that's the handoff. The role that's been guarding your life finally realizes it's done. And it steps aside, and it won't go out in fire or drama. It'll leave in silence. No applause, no grief, just the soft click of a door you didn't know was locked, finally opening. At first, this new absence might feel strange. You may not know how to fill the silence it leaves. You may even try to bring it back, to replay the familiar emotion, to revive the comfort of that identity, but it won't respond. Because it's not yours anymore. You're not shedding a mask, you're being released from it. This is not collapse. This is clearing. You are not losing yourself. You're making space for the one that's been underneath the entire time, waiting for a moment like this. And when you lie down tomorrow night, you'll feel it in your breath, in your chest, in the way your shoulders drop, like they've finally been given permission to stop holding up something too heavy. The world won't look different, but you'll move through it with a self you haven't felt in years, one that doesn't ask for permission to exist. It's not the end of who you were. It's just the part where you stop dragging them into the future. For the first time, your body feels like home. There's a moment in the spiritual path that almost no one talks about, the one where the mind, the energy, and the body finally sync. It doesn't come with fireworks or celebration. It doesn't feel like being fixed. It feels like belonging to yourself, maybe for the first time. Up until now, you've likely lived a little bit outside your body, just enough to get by, to manage, to function, but never fully dropped in. Even during the best moments, there's been a layer of self-consciousness between you and your presence. That constant sense of monitoring yourself, adjusting, correcting, pulling away from how you naturally move, or speak, or take up space. And over time, that separation becomes so normal, you forget it's not supposed to be that way. But what happens when the war inside you goes quiet? What happens when you stop looking at your own body like it's some temporary rental you're not sure how to decorate? On Thursday, that question stops being hypothetical. You're not performing anymore. You're not rehearsing how to exist. Something settles into place, not as a rush of confidence, but as a quiet agreement between your physical self and your spirit. The fight to be better loses its grip, and what rises in its place is stillness. A subtle shift in gravity. You're no longer moving from defense or reaction. You're simply inhabiting. There's no effort in it. There's no trying to prove anything. It just is. You'll walk a little differently, not because you're trying to impress anyone, but because your body finally trusts you enough to relax. You'll catch a glimpse of yourself, not with critique, but with recognition. The same form you've known for years now feels unfamiliar in the best way, like it's finally caught up to the truth of who you've become. It doesn't require you to love every inch of your reflection. It just asks that you stop treating yourself like an unfinished project. That constant sense of editing, adjusting, hiding, it lets go, not because you force it, but because there's nothing left for it to protect you from. This is not some breakthrough that needs to be declared. You don't need to caption it or turn it into an affirmation. What's sacred about this moment is how quiet it is, how internal. You know the shift has happened, not because the world starts praising you, but because you don't need it to anymore. The acceptance you were scanning for out there was always waiting inside. This Thursday doesn't give you a new body, it hands you back the one you already had, but without the shame, the tension, or the silence it was wrapped in. And once you feel that, even for a second, nothing else ever really feels like home again, because you've already found it. And this time you're not leaving. You'll feel truth in your body, and lies won't stick anymore. We're taught to analyze everything with the mind first, to break it down, weigh it out, ask for proof, make it logical. But when it comes to truth, the mind is often the last one to figure it out. Because the mind can rationalize anything. It can talk you into things that hurt you and talk you out of things that would set you free. But your body doesn't lie. And on Thursday, something inside you wakes up that makes that truth unmissable. You won't even need to think about it. You'll feel it. The second something is off, your body will tense before your brain can come up with an excuse. The second something is real, you'll feel it as safety, as a quiet pull forward, as a deep inhale that finally lands. That instinct, the one you've been taught to override, is the exact tool that gets sharpened this week. It might hit you in the middle of a conversation you've had 100 times, and suddenly it won't land the same. The words will sound hollow, like you've woken up mid-script and realized you're done playing along. What used to feel polite will now feel fake. What used to feel exciting will now feel cheap. You won't be able to tolerate even one more round of pretending not to know what you know. The signal will be too strong. You may find yourself pulling back from things you can't explain, things that look fine on paper, but don't feel right anymore. You won't know how to explain it to other people, and you won't need to, because this isn't about proving your perception, it's about following it, and you'll know, with a kind of certainty that doesn't come from fear or logic, that your nervous system is now your clearest guide. This is what embodiment looks like when it sharpens. You stop using your thoughts to scan for threats and start listening to the raw response underneath them. You trust the part of you that can feel what's behind the words. You move based on that split-second knowing that rises up before your story tries to kill it. And when something's fake, when someone's performing, manipulating, sugarcoating, you won't have to call it out. You'll just feel it in your stomach, and you'll exit, because there's no space left inside you to digest anything that doesn't carry the frequency of truth. But this shift also brings a kind of beauty, because when something is real, you'll feel it hit different. Someone's presence will feel like medicine. Someone's words will land in your chest like a bell that's been rung. A moment will open, and you'll be inside it without analyzing why. There will be nothing to manage, nothing to decode, because your body has already made the decision for you. And it was right. Thursday turns that signal up permanently. It marks the moment where your inner compass stops needing permission from your logic. The moment where your reactions, your boundaries, your decisions, they all start coming from the part of you that knows before it understands. And once that's online, manipulation doesn't work. Noise doesn't confuse you. Spiritual language doesn't distract you. You don't need someone to prove their light. You can feel if it's there. You've spent years in spaces where you had to talk yourself into staying. But now, you'll feel when it's time to leave before your mind even has a chance to ask why. And that's when you'll realize, this isn't intuition, this is instinct rebuilt from truth. And it won't just help you survive, it's how you'll thrive. You won't realize you pass the point of no return until it's too late. Some shifts come with noise, this one doesn't. It slips in quietly, in the middle of something forgettable, disguised as nothing, and yet everything starts to feel slightly off-center, like something familiar just stopped responding the way it used to. You don't notice it right away. At first, it feels like you're just tired of playing along. The story doesn't hold the same tension. The voice in your head that used to defend your old life starts to hesitate. Then, without fanfare, you're just done. This is how real change enters, not through a decision, but through a dissolve. The architecture of who you were can't hold its shape anymore, not because it was wrong, but because your energy no longer agrees to inhabit it. And without that agreement, everything you used to need begins to fall away. By the time you recognize what's happened, the door's already closed behind you, not slammed, not locked, just no longer accessible. There's nothing dramatic to return to. It simply doesn't exist in your body anymore. The loop has ended, the spell has worn off, and what you used to cling to now feels impossibly far away. That's why Thursday matters. Not because something explodes, but because nothing does. No resistance, no battle, just a soft click beneath the surface, and you're never the same again. This is what makes it permanent. It doesn't demand your attention, it just happens. And once it does, you can't unfeel the stillness that settles in once the noise you thought you needed fades away. If you're still here, thank you for giving me your time and attention. If this resonated with you and you'd like to explore more, hit the subscribe button. Your support truly means a lot. I'd love to hear your thoughts or experiences in the comments below. Until we meet again, take care and stay tuned for more moments of insight and reflection.